Hello, physical science students, and welcome to this week in physical science. Here we are, Monday, September 18th, and I have on the screen for you showing you the activities that you'll be working on this week, which again, this week is Module 4. We'll be talking a lot about lab safety this week. I know a lot of the things you'll be learning this week will refer to lab settings in a physical setting, and I know this is an online course. But you should still have a good understanding of what lab safety is like, because eventually you most likely will have a lab class in person. And, if you want to go on and study science significantly in college or grad school, you'll be working a lot in lab. So this week is designed to give you an introduction into lab safety. I have some simulations and activities, which will hopefully make it a little more fun learning about. So this week is all on lab safety. There isn't really a chapter on lab safety in your textbook, but as you work through the interactive notebook, I'm going to pull that up here. And again, these interactive notebooks, you do not need to turn in. They're just for you to work through on your own as your study guide. As you work through the interactive notebook, you'll want to look at slide 3, which talks about lab safety. You can match each lab safety symbol to the correct lab safety rule. And then there is kind of a student safety checklist that I won't have you sign and turn in, but I wanted to show you it because this is what you would potentially sign if you were in a physical in-person lab class. So just some rules that you should remember. So you should read through the rules and you should know that as a good reminder. So back to physical science, moving down to Module 4. You can complete the Module 4 discussion. And after you kind of watch these videos and work through the lab safety material, I want you to tell me what the most interesting rule of lab safety you learned about and why, and then comment on your classmates as well. So that's your discussion this week. You need to complete and upload section 6 for this unit activity packet. So I'm going to pull up the unit activity packet. We are in the second one, Intro to Physical Science, and I'm going to go down to section 6, which talks about lab safety. So we're in the number 2 activity packet, if you're wondering. So that link will open up all the lab activity packets, but we're in this second unit, Intro to Physical Science. You've completed some of these other sections already, but for this week, lab safety, I want you to complete section 6 and upload this, where you need to read each of the statements about lab safety and determine if the answer is true or false. And don't forget, if the answer is false, I want you to rewrite it in the blank space to make it true. So that's a little more about lab safety for you there. So that's what you'll do in the activity packet for this week. And then I have a YouTube video on the Amoeba Sisters. It's about a 6-minute video talking about general lab safety. The Amoeba Sisters are a really well-known YouTube channel that helps to take scientific concepts and put them into kind of caricature drawings. So I like how they show the material, and you can watch their video on lab safety. Then you'll complete the lab safety activity guide. This will take some time for you to do, so I'm going to come back to that. You have the Blue Kit questions for this week. I don't think there are any Blue Kit questions for lab safety, so don't worry about that. We'll get back into Blue Kit next week when we go over science and technology. Here's a quiz on lab safety. And then again, you can find these recordings on our class YouTube channel. So I'm going to pull up the lab safety activity guide right now. This will take you through different stations of lab safety. And I'm going to take you through what this will look like. This is an online activity, kind of, activity. I want you to do this after you watch that Amoeba Sisters video on lab safety. And then what you'll do is you'll go through the stations, you'll answer the questions to each station, and then you'll write out a simple lab rule for working in a lab. So I'll show you what I mean. We have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe about 12 stations. You can sign and date it, but what you'll see then are these scenarios. So you'll see lab station scenarios where you'll read through the scenario of lab safety. You'll answer the questions, and then after answering the questions and reading the scenario, you can write your own lab safety rule that relates to this situation. So on the following pages, you'll see scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3 and 4, and so on until we get to, I believe it's 10 lab safety scenarios where there'll be kind of a story or a scenario or a situation. You need to answer the questions and come up with your own lab safety rule that relates to this situation. So I'm going to go back up to the top. This chart is where you'll write the station number. You should have 10 station numbers. You'll answer the questions, and then you'll write your own lab safety rule that relates to that scenario station. This should take you a good hour or more. And keep in mind, if you are a full-time student at Amazing Grace Virtual Academy, you should have about between 40 and 50 minutes of work to do every day. So you'll notice in the coming weeks that I've kind of started us out light, but in the coming weeks, I'm going to kind of ramp up activities and work for you to do to make sure you're filling your time with at least that amount. Between reading your textbook, and there also are not any notes for this week on lab safety, but normally each week you'll have your textbook and notes and activity, an interactive notebook, and some sort of lab activity to hopefully fill up that time well. But just keep that in mind as you're working through these modules that I'll be giving you enough work to fill up about an hour each day of work, whether that's reading or activities or quizzes or homework. So I think that takes us through this week. Again, there's no notes to submit this week because it's a little bit different week. We're just talking about lab safety. You can work through the interactive notebook, complete the discussion question, do and complete and upload section 6 in that unit activity packet, watch the video, and then work through that activity scenario guide on lab stations. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to me via messages. I will always get your assignments graded by the Friday of the week after they're due. So for example, all of your assignments from last week, module 3, I'll try to get to you graded by Friday of this week. Thank you for listening, guys, and God bless your week. Take care.